Good evening, everybody. I'm Khadija, and my partner Simon.
Evening, everyone.
I'm from a school, Mitchellized Primary in Tafelsig, Mitchell's Plain. By now, I think everybody knows more or less where Tafelsig area is. We are quite challenged, but I don't think, if you listen to many schools, no matter where they are, it's actually no different. So at the end of the day, a child is a child, and we can just try and bring the best out of that child. Interestingly enough, in 2018, I think 2018 was the WCED mantra of enter to learn, the year of the learner, enter to learn and leave to serve. And every school had to have that. And actually this year, and this process has taken me back to our school's logo on the badge, and that I found there at the school, because the school started in 2006. And I looked at that and I said, and I'm coming back to our workshop, and I said, aim high, soar heights. When you enter to learn, you've got to aim high, and you've got to soar the heights. And you leave to serve the community, you leave to serve everybody, your family, and serve people. I thought, goodness. All of this, the beginning of the school has actually come together and redefined itself in 2019 for me. And I think I need to just make that connection with the staff and say, you have actually been ahead of the WCED mantra of enter to learn and leave to serve. I can't even see what I've written there. The first thing I need to say is, for this year, I've been very, very grateful for being included in this process. It actually came at a time, I left last year in July, and it was a very emotional experience when I went on my spiritual journey in July. And I came back in August, and when you're on this the spiritual journey, you go into 5 days of solitude and really centering yourself and finding yourself. So you're going to come back, it's almost like, wow, where's your mouth now? You're not talking anymore. And shortly after that, so in this process where you still have this, PFP comes along, and it's almost strengthened that calmness and that growth within me. First time I invited my colleague of my SMT here tonight, and he said, yeah, she has changed a lot. Okay, you never told me that, but I heard him sit over to the table tonight. So this experience has really transformed me in what everybody else is saying in the time to think. I think the time to think has been a very powerful workshop for all of us. For me especially, and the simple thing is just to change your body language. Stop what you're doing. And I always hear when Paul said, be present, be present. And that word, be present, has become key. I didn't get it right with my children yet, because my girls still say, you're cryptic when you speak, I don't understand you. So maybe in time they'll get the picture, they'll get there too, or I'll get there with them as well. But that really has been a transformation in terms of my professional life, that just changing small things in the time to think and active listening workshops has, for me, has felt I am connecting differently with the staff. So I've practiced a lot of that. And I actually didn't share with the staff I'm on this PFP journey. I just wanted to see if there was a change, a natural change within the staff in unfolding for me. I realized that, I also realized where I had to take things personally. And when I take things personally, I go into the red is when I realized I was reacting to people's reactions. Until I realized, you're not responsible for how they react. You're only responsible for how you react. And that has really changed my thinking, and that kind of development has taken place. So all around a positive experience. And once again to Mapula Trust, thank you very much for being the sponsor of myself and my business partner, Paul. Simon?
Yeah, thanks, Khadija. Yeah, mine's a little bit less structured, as you can see. So this year, in 2019, has been a particularly significant period of growth for me, not only through this program, but also at Toastmasters and at the Landmark Forum, a transformational and spiritual program, and also at the No Name Initiative, which uses deep democracy facilitation. And so it's been a very, very, very significant year, which will soon become very apparent as well. So, and for all of us here. I continue to develop my listening skills using the time to think methodology, because, it's not something that we taught how to listen. And we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we often use our 1 mouth at least 10 times more than our ears. So, time to think, Nancy Klein, has really brought something special to the world in terms of getting us to listen more and talk less. I also want to apply some of the community building skills together with the No Name initiative. And yeah, one of my friends, Cheryl, who is on NNI, she's actually asked me to help her facilitate some things in the community in the future. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed walking this interesting and soulful journey together with Khadija this year. I think over time we've developed a healthy love and respect for one another and an easy working relationship. Khadija, thanks very much for putting up with my rather erratic timing schedule, but I was having to deal with spiritual time and a real time on earth, and it's quite tricky getting it all right. But on that note, okay, I'm now going to step into a different role. Okay, Khadija?
Oh, that is just a picture
into the
of,
we.
yes, the we, Simon and myself.
Teddy bear,
yeah.
Khadija.
I actually came on board on November, a little bit after the launch, and that is why I think I heard the name. I just saw Salvin Page on a email. I never met Salvin before. So Salvin and I got to know each other. We actually enjoyed our meetings. It's two totally different personalities, but that is what it is about. Learning from each other's craziness and dealing with each other. But it was so different, it was so healthy for me just to know that there is another person. And I listened to what Vanessa said, is this all this busyness and craziness, and I suggested to Simon, we're not having our meetings at school. We can have it away from the premises. Because when it's at school, you get interrupted or you feel edgy. So we used to have our meetings at the Spur in Ottery, and he pays one time and I pay one time. And that was, and it became very, very, very fruitful. And sometimes we had very, very good and dynamic conversations. We got to know each other on a personal level and interacting with each other. The workshop, for me, becoming to the work, but that was 51 staff members. And what for me was smart was thinking, how are we going to deal with 51 people in one workshop? It's a big group. Because I was adamant that we're going to include every single member on that school property who works with children. Because our aim was, at the end of the workshop, through all the skills, to come out with value system, a value structure that we want to use for 2020. That was ultimately, that is the goal, and that is where we're going to go to. It became clear that in the workshop, in spite of our different personalities, and we actually complemented each other quite well in the workshop. It wasn't clear-cut, that's your part and that's your part, so it was synchronized quite well. So time to think was one component, that is what we start off with. Just briefly going into the components, not going into much detail. Remember, we had 3 hours and we had a lunch break. And the key lesson there was to not listen, do not listen, to respond. So bringing out just key ideas. So almost like initiating and igniting future workshops and future things. And for me, this was big. And thank you, Paul, for pushing that we actually have it done before this.
Yeah.
Because he said, I need to report back to Paul. What is our date? What is our date, Khadija? And
being an unstructured person myself, but
okay.
I carried out the instructions directly.
So it was actually a very brilliant experience. And then we went on, and the question that was asked in the, I think you did you do this one? What is the commitment you hold
Yeah.
when you came into this room, that brought you to this room? And I said an expanded room, not just room, but space, school, just here in Tafelsig. What brought you here? Why not in Bishop's Court? Why not somewhere else? So, or today, whatever just was important to you. And that was actually something very different to the staff. In our small SMT group, you say, what do you say, what do you think, what do you think? That is basically around. But this was more around in small groups. So in this circle of 8, they all spoke about what brought them there. And I walked around and I heard such passion coming from the staff. I thought, wow, I haven't heard that before. And it was a lesson also. So you're learning as you're doing things and say, that is what needs to change. And they thoroughly enjoyed bringing out, and they said to listen, to be, I think that is what they said, the feedback. And what for me was important, that they said, everybody felt valued. And that to me was very important from that workshop. So the work was, the first step was we introduced Simon to our management team. That was early in February, but it was very stilted, it was very awkward. And all they had to talk about was what they found the challenges within the schools. And it was Simon being an outsider, so I'm not sure. So I just asked Simon, I just want you to listen to language people use, because I like to listen to what people, not necessarily, what people say and how they say it. And that was with the SMT, and everybody had their say. And it was very difficult because I think at the beginning of the year, the situation was also a bit difficult because it was an outsider hearing what they have to say. And you know what people are sometimes, we are like that. Sometimes we feel the need to say things in a particular way. And I think, and I explained who Simon was and that he was part of the process. Simon heard that the SMT was presenting themselves. They were not. I stated that what I wanted out, and I said that to Paul also in a triads, that I want our staff and our SMT to be more solution-driven. Not to come and say, this is the problem, what do I do? This is the problem, this is my solution, this is what I think I should handle it, and do you have any input regarding that? That's what I need. So I needed them more solution-driven, and they not to look at systemics, the systems that we're dealing with, and the disciplinary challenges of the school. And say, because that's what we always see the problems. And after the SMT meeting, I introduced Simon to our SGB meeting. Now, parents are very comfortable people to sit in a meeting with. And they were just themselves, and we were having our meeting, and they were just dealing with it, and you found that quite refreshing, I think.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and the last was the workshop. But for me, my intention for that workshop was that I needed to do bulk of that workshop. Simon was there to support me and do a little bit of it, because at the end of the day, Simon would be leaving. So I didn't want Simon to be doing the workshop. And I'm standing there, so I wanted to do the workshop, be the voice, introduce the new concepts of our time to learning workshops, from our floor contracting workshops, but basically mainly our community building workshops. And then we ended off with the gift. The gifts we did, same thing, and they were funny, and it became so comfortable that they made, this sexual innuendo jokes came along as well. Because my passion and my happy place is to sew, and they show, and they sewing, and they wrote, somebody went up with a blue and says, in Afrikaans. and I just left, and we just laughed, and it was so comfortable. and I think for me that was also a breakthrough. And then the last thing was the appreciation. Go around the table, just appreciate each other. Say to each other what you appreciate about each other. And for me, what was profound, and I think Neville said something to me earlier, is but the security came to me and said, you know, in CPF, I'm in so many workshops, but it's the first time I've been in a workshop like this. Not that the workshop was great, but it was just so different, that it was igniting a different response in every person. But thank you to everyone. I really hope that this will not be the end for us, but as a group, we will be more collaborative and not be working with our partners, but with a group of people that will be more freely interacting with each other and each other's schools. And that the other business leaders who are still busy, please come and visit, come and see the school, come and meet up with all our principals. Let us remain, I know there's a dream, but let us try to remain as united as we've been. Thank you very much. It's been great working with you.
Thanks very much.